You could have a valid ticket, a packed bag, and arrive early at the airport, and still get stopped cold at security. And no, it's not just because of what you packed. TSA rules have quietly changed, and millions of travelers have no idea what's coming. Whether it's your ID, your shampoo, or even the type of phone charger you're carrying, 2025 is shaping up to be a major turning point for airport security. And if you're not paying attention, it could cost you your flight. Let's start with what seems simple but has already caused chaos at airport checkpoints: your ID. You've probably heard the term real ID floating around for years, but now it's finally real. As of May 7, 2025, your standard driver's license may no longer be enough to board a domestic flight in the US. No extensions, no grace periods, no excuses. If your ID doesn't have a gold or black star in the top corner, you're not getting through TSA. Period. What's worse? Some states issued IDs that look compliant, but aren't. You could be walking around with a useless license and not even know it. So check your ID now. Not the night before your trip when there's nothing you can do, because once you're at the airport, it's too late. But your ID isn't the only thing that might land you in hot water. Believe it or not, the TSA liquid rule is still around, and it's getting stricter. We're talking about the infamous 3-1-1 rule. Liquids must be under 3.4 ounces and fit into a single quart-sized bag. You've heard it 1,000 times, right? But here's the twist. In 2025, enforcement is ramping up. TSA agents are cracking down harder than ever, and travelers are getting caught off guard by toiletries they thought were travel-sized. Even popular brands marketed as TSA approved are being tossed in the bin. Word is, some airports are under pressure to increase confiscation rates. And guess who ends up paying the price? Yup, you. Your best move: travel with truly TSA safe mini containers, seal your bag tight, and ditch the close enough mindset. They're not playing games anymore. Now, while TSA is being tougher on what you bring, they're also rolling out shiny new tech to scan it. You might have seen them, the next-gen CT scanners. These aren't your typical X-ray belts. They create detailed 3D images of your bag's contents, and in theory, they let you leave your electronics and liquids inside your carry-on. Sounds great, right? Less fumbling, fewer trays. But hold on. Not so fast. The rollout is inconsistent. Some airports have the new scanners, some don't. Even inside the same terminal, one line might have them and another might not. And the worst part, TSA agents aren't always clear about when the rules apply. So unless you like surprises, you're better off packing like it's 2019. Laptops out, toiletries bag up front. If you get lucky and breeze through without unpacking, great. But if you assume the rules are relaxed, you're asking for trouble. And speaking of tech, let's talk about one of the buzziest and most confusing updates: digital IDs. The TSA says the future of airport screening is digital. That means having your ID stored on your phone, ready to be scanned instantly. It's already being tested in select airports. Sounds futuristic, right? Until your phone dies. Or the system glitches. Or the scanner doesn't recognize your app. Even TSA agents admit the tech is impressive, but far from flawless. And if it doesn't work, guess who holds up the line while fumbling for a backup? You. So here's the move. Keep a physical ID on you always. Digital might be the future, but in 2025, it's still in beta. Now, if you're a frequent flyer, you might be thinking, I've got TSA pre-check, I'm good. And hey, good for you. That's still the best advantage in airport security. Pre-check lets you skip the worst of it. You keep your shoes on, your laptop stays in the bag, and the lines are usually way shorter. That part hasn't changed. But what is changing is how pre-check benefits interact with all this new tech. Some travelers are getting mixed signals, like being told to pull out electronics anyway, or being randomly selected for extra screening. Here's what helps. Make sure your known traveler number is correctly linked to your flight reservation. That tiny oversight has cost people their pre-check access more times than you'd think. Double-check it before every trip. Pre-check won't fix everything, but in 2025, it's still your best bet for a smoother airport sprint. Unfortunately, even if you're ready, your carry-on bag might not be. Airlines across the board are cracking down hard on carry-on dimensions. And wait, why? because overhead space is becoming a battleground, and airlines are tired of playing baggage Tetris. Gate agents are measuring bags more aggressively and enforcing weight limits with zero wiggle room. And here's the kicker. Many cabin-approved bags no longer meet updated standards, especially those with hard shells or extended handles. Imagine standing at the gate while everyone else boards, and you're being told to check your bag or pay a massive fee because of 1 extra inch. Save yourself the drama. Check your airline's latest size and weight policy before you pack. Better yet, weigh your bag at home. This new carry-on crackdown is real. Oh, and let's not forget the lithium battery situation. It's a sleeper issue that's starting to spark real problems. These tiny batteries power everything: phones, laptops, cameras, vape pens. But TSA is tightening restrictions because lithium batteries can overheat and, yes, explode. In 2025, expect stricter checks on what kind of batteries you're carrying and where you pack them. Batteries must be in your carry-on, not checked, and they need to be charged. If your device won't turn on when TSA asks, that's a red flag. Some travelers have had expensive gear confiscated because the battery rules weren't followed. The rule of thumb: if it has a lithium battery, keep it accessible, keep it charged, and know the watt-hour limits. Your Instagram gear isn't worth a hold-up. And now we get to the most controversial piece of the puzzle: facial recognition. Yep, it's here. TSA is rolling out facial scan tech in more airports every month. The idea is that you walk up, the system scans your face, and boom, your identity is verified. No ID swipe needed, fast, efficient, and kind of creepy, depending on who you ask. Privacy watchdogs are raising red flags. What happens to that facial data? Is it stored, shared, used for anything else? For now, TSA says the program is voluntary. You can opt out. But the catch? If you do, your wait times might be longer. Manual checks take more time. So the question is, are you okay with trading a bit of convenience for a bit of surveillance? Because in 2025, that's exactly the deal being offered. So where does that leave us? TSA has thrown a lot of changes at travelers this year. Some good, some frustrating, and many that people don't even realize are happening. From IDs to liquids, from baggage to biometrics, the rules are evolving faster than most people can keep up with. And the biggest mistake you can make? Assuming what worked last year will still work this time. Here's the bottom line. If you want to get through security without delays, drama, or a missed flight, stay informed. Check TSA's website, read your airline's policies, and always have a backup plan. Because in 2025, being a smart traveler doesn't just mean packing light. It means knowing the rules before they change and staying 3 steps ahead. And hey, if this helped you avoid a TSA disaster, tap that subscribe button. We're always watching the updates, so you don't have to. Safe travels, and we'll see you in the next one. You've probably seen the headlines or heard a friend mention it in passing. Something about IDs changing. But here's what most people don't realize. This isn't some vague future policy. It's happening now. On May 7th, 2025, the TSA flips the switch on Real ID enforcement. And if you show up to the airport with the wrong license, you're not flying. No rebooking, no special waiver. Just a very expensive trip to the airport cafe while your flight takes off without you. The craziest part. A huge number of travelers have no idea they're holding a useless ID. Some states issue licenses that look almost identical to Real ID compliant versions. Same design, same color scheme, but if it doesn't have a gold or black star in the top right corner, it's not valid for air travel. That little symbol? That's your ticket to the security line. No star? You're staying grounded. And don't expect sympathy from the TSA agent. Their answer will be the same every time. You'll need a valid Real ID or a passport to board. That's it. They're not arguing. They're not explaining. They're just moving on to the next passenger. And if you think, well, I'll just grab a passport instead. Sure, that's fine, if you already have one. But if you don't, getting one in time could be a nightmare. Passport offices are already slammed. Wait times have doubled in some places. So, now's the time to check. Not next month, not next week. Now, go pull out your license. Look for the star. If it's not there, make the appointment. Because no matter how good your travel plans are, they mean nothing if you can't get through security. The real ID deadline is one of those changes that creeps up quietly. No big announcement, no last-minute warning. Just one day, boom, the rules are different, and you're either ready or left behind. You'd think by now everyone would have the liquids rule figured out. It's been the same since forever. 3.4 ounces, 1 quart-sized clear bag, and don't push your luck. But here's the part no one's talking about. TSA is quietly getting way stricter in how they enforce it. In 2025, what used to slide by with a smile and a shrug is now getting dumped straight into the bin. And it's not just clueless travelers making mistakes. People who fly all the time are getting tripped up by sneaky details. A lotion bottle labeled travel size that's actually 4 ounces, a half-used container that looks empty but still breaks the rule, or worse, those trendy, reusable toiletry bottles that don't actually say how much they hold, and TSA. They're done with second chances. Some airports are under new inspection quotas, which means agents are under pressure to be sharper, faster, and frankly, less forgiving. That's why you're suddenly seeing more bins full of half-used sunscreen, hair gel, and brand new cologne. It's not because people forgot. It's because the rules didn't change, the enforcement did. Here's what gets even more confusing. In some terminals, with those new 3D CT scanners, TSA might tell you to leave your liquids in your bag. But if you assume that means they're not checking sizes anymore, that's where you're wrong. The scanner might help them see what's inside your bag better, but it also helps them spot what's over the limit faster. So while you're thinking, sweet, I didn't have to unpack, the machine is flagging that slightly too large bottle of face wash sitting under your charger. And boom, bag check. So what do? Get surgical with your toiletries. Travel size doesn't mean small enough to seem fine, it means specifically labeled 3.4 Oz or less. Anything else is a gamble. And make sure they all fit into 1 quart-sized zip bag. No, a gallon bag doesn't count, even if everything fits. Zip it shut, don't overstuff it, and keep it in an easy-to-reach pocket. Think of it this way: the fewer questions your bag raises, the faster you get through. And while we're at it, let's kill the myth that TSA cares about your expensive shampoo. They don't. Whether it's $5 or $50, if it breaks the rule, it's gone. Save yourself the drama and just buy a refillable bottle that clearly shows its volume. Better yet, hit the travel section of your local drugstore and stock up on certified safe minis. It's a small hassle now that could save you a massive headache later. Because let's be real, nobody wants to be the person holding up the security line while a TSA agent pulls out a bag of toiletries and starts tossing things one by one. And in 2025, that's happening more than ever. If you've flown recently, you might have noticed some checkpoints looking a little more high-tech than others. Sleek new machines, fewer trays, less shouting from TSA agents. That's because the agency's been rolling out next-gen CT scanners, machines that generate 3D images of your bag's contents. And they're not just cool-looking, they promise a faster, smoother screening process where, get this, you don't have to pull out your laptop or even your liquids. That sounds like a dream, right? No more digging through your bag, no more trays stacked sky high, no more last-minute laptop juggling. But here's where reality sets in. Just because some checkpoints are using this new tech doesn't mean it's everywhere. It's not even consistent within the same airport. One terminal might have the scanners, while the one down the hall is still using machines from 10 years ago. Even worse, TSA doesn't always tell you which line uses what. So you could be standing in the high-tech lane, thinking you're good to go, only to get barked at for not removing your MacBook. It's like playing security roulette. And the machines themselves? They're powerful, but they're not foolproof. TSA agents still rely on human judgment, and many are still adjusting to the new tech. That means you might hear, leave everything in your bag at one airport, and then get stopped at another for doing exactly that. Even frequent flyers are confused. The result? Slower lines, more secondary inspections, and frustrated passengers who thought the rules had changed. When, in fact, they hadn't. Not really. So here's the smart move. Pack like nothing's changed. Assume you'll have to take out your electronics and liquids unless you're specifically told otherwise at the checkpoint. Keep your laptop in an easy access sleeve. Don't bury your toiletries at the bottom of your bag thinking this new machine will magically wave it through. It might. But if it doesn't, you're the one holding up the line while everyone behind you sighs and shifts their weight. There's also this sneaky side effect no one talks about. The more powerful these scanners become, the more detail they can detect, including stuff that older machines used to miss. That protein bar in your carry-on might look like something suspicious. That fancy tech pouch full of cords and chargers could trigger a manual inspection. The same bag that passed through old-school X-ray without a problem might get flagged by the CT scanner. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the bar for scrutiny just got higher. And TSA agents, they're not necessarily thrilled either. They're dealing with a new system, new training, and a whole lot of confused travelers who don't know what the expectations are. Which is why you should always travel with the assumption that nothing is guaranteed. The new normal. In airport, security isn't really normal yet. It's messy, it's inconsistent, it's full of mixed signals. And if you're not ready for all of that, you're going to have a rough time. So yes, the future of airport screening is promising. But in 2025, it's still very much a work in progress. Just when you thought it couldn't get more complicated, the TSA introduced another layer of tech, one that sounds like the future but feels like a gamble. Digital IDs. Picture this. No need to pull. Out your wallet, no fumbling through your bag, just a tap on your phone, a scan, and you're cleared. That's the vision. Your government-issued ID stored securely on your device, ready to be flashed at the checkpoint with the ease of unlocking your screen. And yes, it's already being tested at select airports around the country. But here's where the fantasy starts to break down. Because for all its futuristic promise, digital ID technology in 2025 is still clunky, inconsistent, and frankly, unreliable. Some airports accept it, some don't. Some TSA agents are trained to process it. Others will look at your screen like you just handed them an alien language. And even if you are in one of the pilot locations, that doesn't mean the scanner will actually work. All it takes is a glitchy reader, a weak connection, or a system freeze, and suddenly the cutting-edge solution that was supposed to save you time is now holding up the line. But the biggest threat isn't the tech itself. It's your phone. Lose power, lose access. Dead battery, you might as well not exist. TSA doesn't care how impressive your encrypted app is if you can't open it. And let's be honest, how many of us have watched our battery drain faster than expected while standing in a long security line, checking emails, playing music, or navigating the terminal? Now imagine hitting the front of that line and realizing your digital ID is trapped behind a black screen. That's why, despite all the hype, smart travelers still carry a physical ID. And not as a backup, but as the main plan. Because even if everything works perfectly, digital IDs still don't replace your passport and they still don't work universally. They're more like a beta feature with a fancy UI and unpredictable performance. It's not about being anti-tech. It's about being realistic, and don't fall for the assumption that digital means faster. In some cases, using your phone to scan in takes longer than handing over a physical card. The scanner has to validate the device, match the face, and check for software updates. If anything's out of sync, boom, you're rerouted to manual screening anyway. So even though the TSA is pushing hard to modernize, digital ID isn't your express pass. It's a roll of the dice. If you want to experiment with it, fine. Just don't bet your entire trip on it. Keep your license or passport ready to go. Have your phone fully charged, and don't assume that because it worked once, it'll work everywhere. In fact, assume the opposite. The more dependent you are on a single device, the more likely that's the one thing that fails at exactly the wrong time. The truth is, TSA's digital ID push is less about convenience and more about data. And while it might evolve into something smoother in the future, in 2025, it's still very much a test run. The future of ID might be digital, but right now, the smartest thing you can do is keep it old school. Now, with all the chaos around, new scanners, digital IDs, and unpredictable security lines, you might be wondering if there's still a way to skip the stress entirely. And the answer is yes. It's called TSA PreCheck. If you travel more than once or twice a year and you still haven't signed up for PreCheck, you're making flying way harder than it needs to be. It's one of the few things in airport security that actually still works the way it's supposed to. Here's how it goes down. You apply once, pay a small fee, go through a background check, and once approved, you get access to a separate security lane. a faster, more relaxed one. No removing your shoes, belt, or light jacket. You don't have to unpack your laptop or your liquids. You just walk up, flash your boarding pass, and you're through in minutes while everyone else is still wrestling with bins. And while everything else in 2025 seems to be changing by the week, TSA PreCheck has remained steady. No surprise rule shifts, no new app to download, no secret tricks. It's reliable. And that alone makes it worth every penny. But here's where a lot of people mess up. They go through the whole process, get approved, and then forget to add their known traveler number to their airline profile. Without it linked to your reservation, PreCheck won't show up on your boarding pass, and you'll be stuck in the regular line wondering why your golden ticket suddenly disappeared. Even worse, some travelers assume that once they have PreCheck, they're completely immune to random checks. Not true. If your bag sets off an alert, or if TSA flags something unusual, you can still get pulled aside. Yes, even in the PreCheck lane. It doesn't guarantee a frictionless experience, but it absolutely tips the odds in your favor. Think of it as leveling up your status with the airport gods. It won't stop every storm, but it'll help you dodge most of the turbulence. And don't confuse PreCheck with other programs like Clear or Global Entry. Those are great too. But PreCheck is the one that actually deals with the security line, not just identity verification. It's the one that gets you past the choke point while others are unzipping bags and untying shoes. So if you've ever found yourself pacing in line, staring at the clock, silently praying that security moves faster, this is your fix. It's not a luxury anymore. In 2025, with all the extra tech and confusion, PreCheck is basic survival for the modern traveler. 5 years ago, it was optional. Now, it's essential. Now, here's something that catches even seasoned travelers off guard. Lithium batteries. We carry them everywhere without thinking. In our phones, laptops, power banks, cameras, vape pens, electric toothbrushes, and wireless headphones. They're small, powerful, and absolutely essential for modern travel. But in the eyes of airport security, they're also a potential fire hazard. And in 2025, TSA is taking that risk a lot more seriously. What most people don't realize is that lithium batteries can overheat, catch fire, or even explode under the wrong conditions. And it's happened mid-flight. That's why TSA and airlines have started quietly tightening the rules around how and where you pack them. If your battery's in the wrong place, say buried in your checked luggage instead of your carry-on, your bag could get pulled, delayed, or worse, not loaded at all. And no, they don't always notify you. Sometimes your bag just disappears for a while and no one tells you why. Even external battery packs, especially those with high watt-hour ratings, are now under closer scrutiny. There's a watt-hour limit per device. And if your power bank exceeds it or doesn't clearly list its capacity, it could get confiscated on the spot. Imagine shelling out $100 for a premium charger, only to have it tossed in the bin because the label rubbed off or it was too powerful. And good luck getting it back. TSA doesn't do returns. There's also a growing expectation that your devices be charged and functional at security. That's right, if your laptop won't turn on or your camera doesn't respond, it could be flagged as suspicious. TSA may ask you to power it on to prove it's real, and if it doesn't boot up, you might have to leave it behind. It sounds extreme, but when you think about it from a security standpoint, a dead electronic device is a black box. They can't see what's inside, they can't verify its contents, and they're not going to take the risk. So if you're flying with tech, keep it charged. Better yet, bring a portable battery that is compliant just in case. Another rule that's tripping people up. You're usually allowed only a limited number of spare batteries, and they must be carried in your hand luggage, never in your checked bags. Those little coin cell batteries for your camera gear or noise-cancelling headphones. Keep them in their original packaging or a battery case. If they're loose and rolling around in your backpack, they could short-circuit and trigger a fire alert. And if a TSA agent opens your bag to find a pile of unprotected batteries, don't be surprised if they toss them, especially if you're in a rush and they don't feel like negotiating. It's one of those topics that doesn't get headlines. But it's becoming a bigger issue as people travel with more devices. Between drones, smartwatches, tablets, Bluetooth speakers, and fitness trackers, Your average carry-on is basically a mobile battery farm, and TSA's approach is shifting from casual checks to proactive enforcement. They're not waiting for problems, they're trying to prevent them. That means if you're not following the updated guidelines, your stuff isn't safe. It's vulnerable. And if it causes a delay or sets off a scanner, that's on you. So if you're traveling in 2025, here's the rule. Know your batteries, know how many you're carrying, how big they are, and where they need to be packed. Check the watt-hour rating. Keep devices charged, and don't rely on the old "I've always traveled with this and never had a problem" excuse. That doesn't work anymore. The rules are changing, and TSA isn't giving second chances. Just when you thought airport security couldn't get any more personal, TSA started scanning your face. No more handing over your ID and boarding pass. Just step up to the kiosk, look straight ahead, and in a few seconds, a camera confirms who you are. Or at least, that's how it's supposed to work. Facial recognition is no longer experimental. It's rolling out across more airports in 2025, and depending on where you fly, it might already be the new standard. The pitch is simple: faster security, less hassle, and fewer touch points. You don't have to fumble through your wallet, show your phone, or wait while someone squints at your ID photo. The camera does all the work. Your face becomes your passport. Sounds futuristic, sounds convenient. But it also sounds unsettling. And a lot of travelers feel exactly that way. Because as smooth as it seems on the surface, facial recognition comes with real concerns. Where's that facial data going? Who's storing it? How long is it kept? And what else might it be used for? TSA says the system is secure, that participation is voluntary, and that images aren't stored long-term. But let's be honest, not everyone buys that. In a time where data leaks happen constantly and trust in institutions is shaky at best, the idea of giving up your biometric data just to board a plane doesn't sit well with everyone. And even if you do opt out, which you legally can, it doesn't always feel like a real choice. Sure, you can ask for a manual check, but doing so might mean longer lines, more questions, and in some cases, awkward stares from other passengers who think you're holding things up. TSA says it's no big deal, but travelers say otherwise. People have reported feeling pressured, rushed, or just flat out confused when they try to decline the scan. And when you're at the airport, stressed, short on time, and just trying to catch your flight, it's a lot easier to go along with something you're unsure about than to speak up. Then there's the tech itself. Facial recognition software isn't perfect. It misidentifies people, especially across different age groups and skin tones. If the scanner doesn't recognize you or mistakes you for someone else, you're not getting through any faster. You're getting pulled aside. You might have to repeat the check, show additional ID, or even go through enhanced screening. So while it's marketed as a smoother process, when it fails, and yes, it fails, it becomes a hassle no one has time for. What's even more wild? This isn't just about getting through TSA. Some airlines are starting to use facial recognition at boarding gates. Just walk up, let the system scan you, and board without showing a ticket. Again, impressive, but also a little dystopian, especially when you realize that every part of your journey is now being logged through your face, from the security checkpoint to the boarding gate to your final destination. And yet, for now at least, you still have a choice. You can opt out. You can keep your ID handy. You can say no thanks to the scan and go old school. But as this technology expands, and let's be real, it will, that choice may start to feel more symbolic than practical. Because when the optional system becomes the default, saying no can suddenly make you stand out in ways you didn't ask for. So now the real question isn't just, is facial recognition faster? It's, are we okay trading privacy for convenience? Because that's exactly what this is. A trade, one that doesn't feel urgent until it's already become the norm.